if we get into this, then
Yeah, we can
we have
get
already some nice, very nice intro coming up here. But
absolutely.
as you said, you were you born in the East,
It's actually Azerbaijan. Yeah,
Azerbaijan.
former Soviet Republic.
Azerbaijan. So you speak Russian.
I do, I do, I do speak Russian.
Yeah, yeah, so this brings us back to the topic because I was also born in the East,
Yes, yes, I remember the
and
story of yours. Yeah,
yeah, and when I was a teenager, I had to go through Russian in school, but little I remember.
yeah, languages tend to disappear, especially if not used. All right. First and foremost, since we already started the conversation, let me sort of express my personal gratitude for coming to London, playing. We're all excited. The community is very excited. Some people were at your previous gig 3 years ago. It actually was at exactly the same place. It was at the Egg. We did a bit of a like historical digging into your gigs in the UK, and it actually feels like a continuation of the story. So, what feel exciting for you about like coming back to London like after these years?
Well, first of all, I think London or the UK for every musician feels like something special, not only because big parts of the electronic music history was made there, but also the major part of the whole the music history was made there. The Beatles, the Stones, and whatever band came after and made it then in the 80s through new wave into electropop, Depeche Mode, New Order, in we here in Germany always look up to all the things that came or come from England, Liverpool, London, and so on. And so it's always something very very special. It's different than if you would go to another place which has less history of music
Hmm,
in general.
I see. Well, you've been around for like so many years within the scene. I think last year it was like 34 years since you started gigging,
Yes, 1992 was the first time I got hired to play in the club. But I'm already DJing since before, like bedroom sort of ish, and teenager parties in school. But professionally, which makes it what 34 years?
34 years. It's always fascinating when artists like I don't want to say word survive, but we see artists like dropping out of the scene, coming back. Some like yourself, like Hernan, consistently playing over the years, and it always struck me like what keeps driving artists like yourself, like what keeps you excited about like playing a night, playing a festival. Like it's really
Mhm.
interesting to get like into that mindset a little bit, if you don't mind.
Yeah, well, first of all, I have to admit that I didn't see the time pass. And since I never had a major plan to do what I do, it has always been a dream for me since very young age to play music only once in front of people. And I have never really lost this desire and this feeling to chase this dream. And for me to go on stage, no matter if it's small or big, it still gives me the chills, the anxiety, emotions, and the whole pleasure, satisfaction. You know, it's like a roller coaster of emotions, and I wouldn't probably find this anywhere else, maybe other than in a relationship with a woman. But yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, somehow it feels like it's also the only thing I know how to do. It's, since I do it, it's the only thing I really did. I left school, and since then I haven't done anything else.
This is exciting. So basically living a dream, like a very rare example of a person actually living the
Exactly.
dream.
Yeah.
This is amazing. No, seriously, it's so inspiring. Uh, Speaking of emotions, like it's interesting aspect you touched. So I first discovered your music, I think it was 2014 on Mixcloud. It was, if I'm not mistaken, it was your live set from Tribal Tech in Brazil. I think it was the
Yeah.
first one that I discovered. And even back then, even though your sound now obviously evolved and it's shaped in a different form and it's in a different sonic range now, but even back then it already felt like this like roller coaster of emotions, like roller coaster of energies, like flowing through the music. And it's really interesting, like when you're crafting your sets, like obviously have like years and years of experience, but when you're crafting your set, like what it takes, like for a track to land in your playlist, like what it
Yeah.
takes when it comes to the music selection.
I always try to see myself being the one raver on the dance floor. Maybe having tried a little bit of something that gives you a little bit of extra,
Mm.
eyes closed. And when the music comes through you into your stomach, into your belly, and you feel this kind of, what the fuck, this kind of, that thing that only special tracks can do.
Mm.
This moment of surprise, of overwhelmness. I try to, this is the way I try to select my music, choose my music, put them into my sets, but also the way I try to produce music.
Mm-hmm.
Always want to give something to the dance floor that could give you that sort of emotion that makes you feel like, wow, something was different now. Because we have so much of everything, especially nowadays. So many tracks come out every day, so many record labels, so many DJs. And students always ask me, what is it that I have to do to make it, to break through? And I said, you always have to be different and better than the others.
Mm.
There's already too much of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be so many different things. But I think if the music is already, I mean, I don't want to play crazy Skrillex sort of music, EDM, loud music. It's not about noise and loud. It's more like something that can be a little thing into it, but energetic and surprising. Has to
Mm.
be.
That's interesting. It's also what you mentioned about like being a raver, because referring back again to the Super Progressive interview, shout out to Super Progressive, mate, if you're watching this, keep doing what you're doing. But like referring back to that interview, I remember you mentioned about the balance last year, the first iteration of balance, how you kind of didn't want to like immerse yourself into the backstages and green rooms, and how you went out there like in the crowd and listened to the music. And I recently also saw a post on your Instagram page when the Swenwath was playing and you were actually in the crowd. We don't see this much like these days. I can literally count DJs with like fingers of one hand who are actually doing it. So like,
Yeah. It's not very easy because people are always chasing for small talk or a picture, which
mm,
is nice, but then it somehow stops you from getting into that musical moment. Like at least 1 hour, eye closed, don't think about if you have to leave, catch a flight, or when your driver is waiting for you to bring you back to the hotel. So I think we all need a raver moment at least once a year to remember what
mm-hmm.
it's all about.
So balance is your raver moment, I guess.
Balance, yeah, it was a big surprise. It was their first festival, and I got there, and I understood that people didn't come there to ask for pictures and to, and I went to the backstage. It was actually the place which was more, let's say, like that, which I'm trying to escape from. Because so many DJ colleagues and friends and everybody came hugging, and here a small talk there, and here a small talk there. All nice, super nice to see all my friends that we never see or rarely see. But then I was there with my wife, and she doesn't speak English. She's from Brazil. And I was like, you know what? We're not getting into this now here. We go to the dance floor and we let the music speak. It's going to be her and my moment with the music alone. And this is what we did for 2 days. And yeah, I mean, but I say it doesn't need to be balanced. It can be anywhere. We have big festival here in Germany is called Fusion Festival, which I used to do that. We used to go there for 2, 3
Mm-hmm.
days, camping, friends, no phone, and then no compromise, no responsibility, and yeah. And that day when you saw me dancing on the dance floor of Sven, I mean, it wasn't that much. It was like maybe 2, 3 hours on the dance floor because that day I had to also get my kids. And but yeah. Music, you can music only feel on the dance floor in front of loudspeakers, not in the backstage, not in a VIP area,
Mm-hmm.
or it's not even in the car. You feel it the right
Mm-hmm.
way.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely, definitely. The crowd makes music feels different. Speaking of music, actually, like I wanted to cover a little bit for it was actually a question from some of the fellow producers in London. We wanted to ask you like, and I think I already got a partial answer from you. What makes Sprout so consistent? I think the raver soul that you kept alive for all these years makes it very special because, being honest with you, there's so many labels where you dig through the Bitport, you go like, not this, not this, not this track. But with the Sprout, when going through catalog, like you can end up with like a dozen tracks at the end of the day. Like, how did you get there? Because it's so interesting.
Yeah, maybe it's the same thing. Just the way I choose the music for my sets is also the way I choose the tracks that I release on my record label. Lately, I released a lot of my own tracks. I haven't, how can I say that? I mean, Sprout, I do that since 20 or more years also, and it's difficult to stop doing it. But I had my ups and downs, of course, difficult difficulties with my distributor, and I didn't really see any progress. And maybe I also wasn't really happy with the signing I was doing. But lately, I had some changes also in my life, and that brought me back on my way. And I understood that it's my label. I should release my music on my label. Why should I always send my music to others?
Hmm.
Is seeking for a bigger label, better label, but because now I understood there isn't.
Hmm.
There isn't. I mean, in the end of the day, the music, my music, I release on my label, still on others, of course, but and then is the thing with all the friends and the colleagues, and then they show me their tracks, and often they know already what I like, and so it goes hand in hand.
Hmm. Is like we had this recent conversation with a few friends who are more into like melodic house and techno side of things, but they started dipping their toes more into progressive sound recently, and they kind of started blending. And it was always fascinating how like your name and Sprout always comes up in those conversations when DJs actually starting emerging themselves into different sounds. And like I said, I discovered your music like about 10 years or so ago. And your sound has always evolved. And I think you always had this kind of blend of everything, like
Yeah.
moved forward towards like energy. Have you had any influences, like any artists who like influence you to go into this, or it like happened naturally?
Just a second.
No worries.
Mm. Yes, we already spoke about one of the guys. It's the German DJ Sven.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Uh, he used to be one of my idols. And there's another one, French DJ Laurent Garnier.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I see these two as real DJs, not only as legendary icons, but also like the way they feed the dance floor and the way they play sets. They don't stick to just one genre, which after so many years of playing, I think it's really boring to do because we have collected so many tracks and we went through so many nice phases and styles and passions. Music goes, music comes back, but there's always tracks that you can always play even 30 years later. But to do that, you need to also have this kind of mind,
Mm-hmm.
have this open mind. So, yeah, for me, I don't want to hide what is inside me.
Mm. Speaking of timeless tracks, I recently, actually, for the first time, I listened to the very first release of Sprout, which was the Folders EP.
Mhm.
It sounds like so fresh even today. Like
Yes.
I literally looked at it. I was like, if you throw that thing on a dance floor these days, people will go nuts. So
I should
speaking
do
of
that. It's
timeless.
a good, let me, I will write this down right now because I haven't heard this track in more than 20 years. But you are right. The folder, oh man, I have to write a message to the artist. I haven't spoken to him for years too. German guy. Yeah, exactly. This is the thing. Sometimes, and I wasn't, I mean, I was just starting the label and I was not even sure what to sign and how to get after or behind tracks that I could release on my label. And that was something that a German DJ gave to me. He produced it, and I had to kind of trust him because I wanted to start the label and had no other release than
Mm-hmm.
that. But now that you say it this way, actually, you make me think of it differently. Thank you for that. Yeah.
My pleasure. No worries. Actually, speaking of like love for the music, and this is another question that actually came from a fellow DJ. We only shared information about this interview with basically people who are involved in the event. But one of the fellow progressive DJs asked to ask you, after all these years, what keeps the love for the progressive house alive? Because again, referring back to one of the previous interviews, you mentioned that I think you mentioned when you played in progressive house in Brazil for the first time, they called it slow BPM or
Low
low
BPM.
BPM. Yeah. So what keeps that love for progressive sound
Yeah,
alive?
that's the thing. I don't call myself progressive house DJ because I try to cross over
Mm-hmm.
always to blend between the styles. People do that. People give things names as it seems that they need that. If you do that, you exclude yourself from so many other good tracks that you
Mm-hmm.
probably wouldn't see if you didn't dig in different genres. For me, it is a matter of groove and the way the music speaks to me. The speed also. So I'm easily between 122 and 128. This is the range I like to play. I like big bass lines. I like rolling groove, percussions, and elements that somehow carry on and gives you the feeling of hypnosis, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
or, this sort of
Yes.
trance thing,
Yes.
also that psychedelic thing into it.
Yeah.
If
Absolutely.
progressive house gets too deep, too repetitive, then it's too boring for me. So I like that more nasty sort of, surprising elements, loud effects, some crazy vocals, but this build up sort of thing. And then I every 20 minutes, every half an hour, play like a big tune, like just for the ecstasy moment on the dance floor, and then go back again.
Oh yeah.
And it's nice. I had last Thursday, I played a 5 hour set.
Mm.
And I started 121 and I ended up playing 127, then went back to 125. And I played house, techno, deep house, progressive house, melodic, everything. I just didn't think about it. Even tech house moments. But when you make those long mixes and you have some layers going on. And yeah, it's create this hypnotic sort of carrying you on moment. Yeah, that's what,
I actually
if
had
you
like a hypnotic moment from one of your sets. I listened to your live from The Edge.
yeah,
And there was this like really cool moment in your set when you went, I think it was a Guy Baron's remix on Abbott's Roots, and it
yeah.
went in this beautiful Enjoy the Silence version by Paul Thomas. And then and I was just like sitting in my headphones, just immersing myself into music. And then the energy went up, and I was like immediately like, what's going on? It was
Exactly.
just so crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And you see, some people would think, oh man, why would he play such a commercial track like "Enjoy the Silence" by Depeche Mode? But first of all, the band means a lot to me, the song too. But that version of Paul Thomas is such a big groover, is such a crazy hypnotic tune. I mean, even without the vocal, it would work, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The groove line there is insane. I don't know how he came up with this, being honest
Yeah,
with you.
yeah, yeah. Probably the best remix so far. Yeah.
Speaking of actually how people like coming up with the ideas for production. So you're known for your production. You're known for your work with Becca's. Um, I really, by the way, really enjoyed "You Get Me," one of the recent releases. Like really, really, really good tune. And does being a DJ helps being a producer, or being a producer helps being a better DJ? Because there's always this kind of conversation in the community.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't know, don't really know because I see myself as a DJ, and I always used to be only a DJ until the moment that people start telling me, man, but now it's really the moment for you to start to produce. If you want to play in different countries, in different continents, you need your own music. So that put a bit of a pressure on me, had to study how to produce, had to buy gear and all of that. But still, until today, I don't really see myself as a producer. I'm maybe a pre-producer. No,
That's
and
interesting.
somehow make the track work, the whole arrangement. But when it gets into engineering and mixing and make it sound proper, then that's why I always have a track with someone.
I see.
But the ideas often come from musical background, all these years of playing, traveling, getting to know other cultures, other countries, and then also the love of music from the 80s and those bass lines, those beats, those. For example, tomorrow will be a day I will meet Beckers again, first time after in the studio since November last year. And as for now, I don't have any idea what to do. Well, I still have to come up with something, unless he has some. But yeah. I mean, there's no right or wrong. It's the moment, when something you feel in the moment.
Almost like selecting the right track at the right time.
Yeah. But there's also DJs that come with a prepared set to the club. The track list, the running order, and I think this doesn't really work, especially when you play long sets, because you never know really what's to expect, how the crowd's gonna react, and what people maybe take or took, or how good or bad their day or their week was. Yes, and so this is also the way we somehow work in the studio. We go with the flow.
Interesting. Yeah, it's I've been preparing playlists for the same night, because I'm actually playing right before you at the Egg on the night, and I was just kind of like listening to your music, listening to your sets, and I was just like, oh, should I get this list? Should I get that list? But then I was like, it's all about the flow. Like it's all about the moment. Like you never
You
know
play
when the
what
right track.
you have to play what you like to play.
Exactly.
That's what everybody should do. And then if you're a good DJ, or me in that case, I have to follow, get into your footsteps on that night and make it become, something else. I should be the one worried. It's I don't know if you're resident there, how often you play at the Egg in London. For me, I think the last time, when was it? Maybe 3 years ago.
Yep, roughly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, things change. I don't know what people like these days, what kind of crowd is going to be.
Yeah, speaking of the crowds, actually, it's quite fascinating how like crowd in London evolved, and it almost feels like people are getting tired a little bit of like too hyped music, because when I moved to London 8 years ago, it was like very high BPM, very high intensity tracks. But as I got used to know more people in the community, I see that the tastes are shifting, and people are actually getting more into like the slow BPM music and more like hypnotic stuff and the rolling stuff, and exactly what you described, like what you like in your music. Do you see kind of similar trends like in maybe other countries, like other scenes where you're playing?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, since the pandemic, things have changed a lot in many ways and situations. Also, the amount of countries that I get booked to play, now it's maybe the circle is smaller. You can feel that the family or the crowd that is seeking this kind of sound that we are known for has become smaller and is more focused on, let's say, Argentina, uh, Mexico, Australia. I have the Brazil, of course, where I live, and yeah, and some other places that I don't recall now. But it's not like before. We used to go everywhere, and people were just happy with whatever,
Mm-hmm.
people seem to be more open now. I feel like especially Germany and Belgium, those countries have shifted towards hard and fast techno,
Mm-hmm.
like extremely fast techno, and that they somehow have forgotten this kind of slower music.
Mm.
But you can also see that in maybe in the schedule of Guy G and Hernan Cataneo, that also they have like their 10 countries where they always go to, and the rest somehow seem to be disconnected from that.
That's interesting. That's a really
Yeah,
interesting insight. Thank you for this.
yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, as I said, London and England has always been a mecca for music, for styles, for new trends. And it's good to hear from you that you say that people always shifting and trying to seek underground and new trends and maybe older trends coming back. So, yeah, looking forward. Big
Likewise.
time. Big time, actually.
Oh, we're looking forward to visit big time as well. And actually really looking forward for your set at the Balance. Unfortunately, didn't attend last year, but after listening to the live recording, I was like, how did I miss it? Just how did I miss it?
But this year you're going to make it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, really looking forward to it.
Excellent.
All right. Chris, just to be conscious of time and not to occupy you any longer, maybe a couple of more questions. I kind of wanted to ask like what people who never listen to your music should expect from your set, but we already covered it to like a big extent. So maybe a few words for the community who are very excited to see you playing next Friday.
Well, first of all, be sure that for me, DJing is not an ego thing. I like to connect to the dance floor. I like to connect with my crowd and to make it become one thing. So I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, it's going to be, as I said, a mix of music from the past, from the future, from the present. Unfortunately, we don't have extended set times as we have restriction in London, but still, it's going to be very groovy, funny, funky, and friendly night with full of love and light and good energy music and friends.
Friends, exactly. All right, Chris, thank you very much. That was amazing. Really looking forward to seeing you next Friday.
Yeah.
And thanks once again for this interview. It was amazing. Absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Cool, man. Looking forward. See you soon.
Likewise.
June,
The 5th,
the 5th of June.
egg,
The
egg.
egg, London.
Return of D-Nox to London. Long
London
awaited.
calling.
London's calling, definitely.
Yeah.
London's calling.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Take care. Bye.